Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently with the price action of BTC and what I think is likely to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. It's the first place that we go to notify you of everything that is going on in the crypto space, so why not check it out? Okay, let's jump on down into this then. So Bitcoin paired up with USDT here on the hourly chart, and Binance is the data source. From yesterday, my kind of expectations were that we actually came down a little bit lower. I was wrong here, so I apologize for that. It does appear that we did complete, as I was kind of saying, one of those kind of options was that we completed down here. And then we actually come up into that next kind of 5-wave move to complete a zigzag pattern. And yeah, I thought we were going to come down. We didn't. We actually went up. So let's go ahead and talk about that. That's by delete this one off. By completing down here at this previous supply area, we can now confirm that this is actually now an area of demand. So we'll go ahead and just quickly label that up so we know exactly what is going on here. Let's just go with demand zone. Okay, so that's going to be an area now where buyers are. Okay, so was previously an area of supply and it is now an area of demand, which is fantastic. So let's go ahead and jump on down into this structure to the upside. So one of the things that I was talking about yesterday was essentially that we either had completed our structure up here, or we had to have another 5-wave move to complete a double zigzag pattern, which is kind of what I think is going on within here. So a double zigzag would be that we've had 5 waves up here, so it's an A wave, B wave coming down, and another 5 waves up. That's your zigzag, your first one. And then up here we have a 5-wave move coming down into 3, and then we're looking for 5 more. Okay, and then it's a double zigzag pattern, of which, if we then start scaling out, would be a WXYXZ, and I think I had this up here, WXY, X, and Z. Okay, so you end up with this kind of pattern. So let's go ahead and reflect a little bit on what is going on most recently just up in this area here. Okay, so in order for us to kind of get a good understanding as to kind of where this structure is going, we're going to take a look at the structure in itself. Okay, so what kind of pattern is going on in here? I think we have a diagonal to start with. We correct down. We then have this 5-wave impulsive move coming up here. We then correct on down. Okay, and here where we are, again, we end up in a very similar situation to where we were in this correction right here. It's trying to say whether or not we've kind of completed or whether we have to come down just a fraction more to kind of finish this pattern off. I think, personally, we're likely to have already completed it. So let's go ahead and just draw these in. Okay, so let's just start things off by taking a look at a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And I think if I've measured this, I get this correct, there's a chance that this might not be impulsive. We'll just take a look though. Yeah, we did. That's good. Okay, that one there. And inside of our wave 3, we can kind of see that we have a structure in there as well if we want to. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to ascertain this wave 3. How far have we retraced? We've retraced just past the 38.2, a little bit deeper, not quite to the 50%. That is pretty good for a wave 4. I'm not too fussed about that. And then of course we'll come into the final 5th wave movement just in here, which if I go ahead and draw in a little yellow box area, and this is basically going to be 17,543 to 17,598, and that's going to be where that 5th wave ends. Now, by all kind of stretches of the imagination, that should be the end of all of these structures to the upside, unless you start getting overextensions, which is possible, but I wouldn't expect it. The 1-to-1 would come up here at 17,616, and we have this dashed line all the way across here as well, originating from the June low. So if we do come up into that 1-to-1, then actually what we're doing is we're testing the June low support is becoming the June or it turns it into a resistance here in January, essentially. That's going to be interesting. Keeping an eye on that. So 17,600 is kind of the upper limit there, I guess. But by all stretches of the imagination, as I said, that would complete our kind of biggest structure that we could probably have here, which is a WXYZ Y, X, and Z. After that, there isn't really anything else you can do. You can overextend, and you could have, an extension within your fifth wave that might go and have another 5 waves and so forth, right? And so you could end up with some overextensions, but at that point, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel to try to get these things to fit into structure. So for the most part, by all intents and purposes, we should be thinking we're nearing an end of a structure, okay? And that means reversal. So when we start thinking about our stochastic, where are we actually currently sat? Well, we're overbought on the daily and the 8-hourly, not so much on the 4-hourly, and we're oversold on the hourly. So we've got some small movements to the upside. Let's come into this stochastic. Let's go to the 4-hour. 4-hour is progressing up, but it's not there yet. The 8-hour is already overbought. The 12-hour is overbought. The 16-hour is overbought. The 20-hour is overbought. The daily is overbought, and the weekly is heading up to overbought. Doesn't have to go all the way. We've seen things reverse midway through here before anyway, but it is a point of interest to us to note that on our weekly time frame here, that we could see more massive kind of collapse in the market, but it'll be interesting to see by the week's end where this stochastic RSI is on our weekly time frame. On our daily, if I do coming down into this, removing the stochastic, you can kind of see that all we're doing here is potentially looking at moving up towards our midline of our parallel channel, and a breakdown I do think is likely to occur. We can see that we reacted previously to this midline. You can kind of see it right here, and historically you can see how these midlines are also acting as either support or resistance in these historical kind of patterns. So higher highs, higher lows break down. We know this, we've seen this time and time again, and all we're doing looking at this at the moment is looking at coming up towards our midline and testing it. Now if I come down into our 4-hour chart and kind of make this a little bit bigger, we are above the 200 EMA here on our 4-hourly chart. On our 8-hourly chart, we just broke above it, so that's a positive for the 8-hour. And the 12-hour, we are below the EMA, the 200 EMA, the 16-hour, the daily, all of them were below those EMA levels. So there's nothing on the bigger macros that are giving us huge positive vibes about BTC. But looking at the smaller time frame, yeah, it does look like we're going to see a little bit more push to the upside. Whether that can going to be kind of hammered down today, probably. There isn't terribly too much from a news point of view that's happening today. It is kind of a CPI week, though. We went through this on Monday, so reasonable kind of expectations are that this week is going to just kind of be your basic volatility and FOMO. It's basically from the DXY kind of dropping and pushing up cryptocurrency assets, and then FOMO kicking in because they see green in the market, or retail sees green in the market specifically. We can enjoy it, of course, but these things don't tend to last forever. And as I kind of said, right, our bigger expectations here are a WXYXZ with a Z wave kind of finishing up here by the looks of it at 17,543 to 17,598. That Z wave is, of course, a C wave high point, which the C wave is, of course, into a B wave high point, which means that eventually we are going to have to kind of come down and finish off into a C wave low around the 15,000 low level that we had previously, of which that would be an A wave low point, so we can have a B wave retracement to the upside before collapsing down into new lower lows into the C waves later on, which of course would be a C wave of a bigger macro picture, which actually stems from when FTX collapsed down in in November. So all in all, guys, there is big movements here that are occurring, but we are probably a bit too focused on the smaller stuff, and we need to kind of keep an eye on the bigger stuff, because obviously FTX was just a B wave high point. When that started to go down, we started to come into the C wave. All we've done at the moment is kind of had a B wave movement of our A wave and so forth. So when we start nesting this down, it's important that we do zoom out, pay attention to the bigger macro picture, which essentially is pointing us in a downward direction. Don't get too carried away thinking that we're going to the moon just because there's a little bit of green on these really small candles when I zoom in, right? Because it looks really great when you zoom in on it like this, but it does not look so good when you start zooming out. If I go to the 4-hour here and start zooming out of all of this, you can start to take stock of the actual situation What we're doing right now is absolutely nothing. It's very similar to kind of what we were doing over here, and we are just waiting for the next big move to the downside, in my opinion. I'm going to leave this video right there, though. If you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Don't forget to join us down in Discord, guys. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.